Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another Anything Joe's Unboxing. My name is Greg Engel, and I'll be your unboxer today. It's an extremely early morning here today. I've broken out my green machine smoothie drink. Don't worry, I've not drunk this entire thing in one sitting. If I had, this would look like I'd look like Reagan from The Exorcist. I'd just be painting the walls with this stuff. I've joined with another green machine today, though. It's Seymour Sci-Fi Fine, probably one of the worst real name characters since Albert Pine. This is a great week to be a G.I. Joe collector because we just saw Mainframe, Sci-Fi, Wetsuit. There's lots of like really good core 85, 86 characters coming out. So I'm very excited to see this. Well, let's take a look and see is this a Seymour Fine or a Seymour Butts? Sci-Fi is classified figure number 177. Here are his stats. Here is his art and QR code, and here's a better look at his art. I'm starting to get the feeling that it's the same artist doing all of these, or at the very least he did the entire wave, because there's a very digital feel to this. I'm not saying AI, there's just like a real polished afterthought on this art. I do like this much more than the mainframe art. It's interesting that they chose to show the closed mask helmet, which we'll talk about in a little bit, but I like this art a lot. As again, for you've got such a small piece of real estate to make it deliver. I think this really connects. The diorama shot on the back is very cool. He's in almost like a Cyber Tokyo 2099 looking environment. He's firing a laser off the top of the roof. The selling effects on this are the laser blast effect with the little burst bubble that's coming out and his backpack. Let's break this bad boy open. Included with Sci-Fi are the following accessories: his XH86 LLOM beam laser rifle, his power source backpack, one removable helmet, one full faceplate, one partial faceplate, hose attachment, and two blast effects. Sci-Fi out of the box looks pretty good. His green is a little bit dulled down compared to the original and the modern, I believe, but I get it, right? It's pretty outlandish. Let's start at the top and work our way down. The head mold looks good. I'm always going to dig into this. This does not really look like Sci-Fi from the cartoon, which is where I would draw most of my influence from. I'm going to say just like Mainframe, when you get the helmet on him, I bet he really comes to life. His hair is interesting. It's like a different color where it's kind of like shaved at the back. It's interesting, but the texture on the actual like hair is very good. I think the head mold looks very good. It's extremely well detailed, and like there's really nothing that stands out about it that's irregular, or I mean, it just looks solid. Typical flexibility. We've got some up and down and some back and forth. It's not great, but it's not bad. And I imagine it's not going to get any better when the helmet goes on. The torso piece is one solid piece of like whatever you're going to call his armor here. It's very thick and tight. It's not designed to come off, but it could be forcefully removed once if you really had to get underneath there. It does a great job of hiding the butterfly joints, however, which are right there. Not again, a little bit of limited mobility because of these shoulder pads on that, but it's not too bad. He's got a bicep swivel. We've got some butterfly joints, wrist articulation. Let's see what this range looks like with these shoulder pads. Yeah, it's going to cause it to bend out a bit here at the top without a little bit of force. So you can see there's a little bit of a He ain't grabbing no shotgun that way, I'll say that. But it's not too bad. The arms themselves are green when they've got like the black underneath, quite excessively, honestly. If you turn it just the right way, they look all green. And you can see it matches up with the elbow joints there as well. He's got a pouch on this side and a silver bracer on this one. Very tech looking, also with a hint of like 80s in my opinion. The gloves are solid black, and it looks like the other arm matches it exactly with the pouch and the bracer. Sometimes they give them like data pads or something on this side. Paint smudge, return immediately. The rest of the torso is just like a flat green outfit, which you can see kind of matches his pants. It has a different texture than the normal like clothing does. You can tell this is supposed to be more military designed. And the same on the back, like how they've crafted in these like wrinkles in it. I think that's a really cool touch. We've got on the belt just a big silver belt buckle here with two little connecting hoops. The black belt goes through to this little like not this is probably the data pad or whatever. It's a very technological looking piece of equipment. Use your imagination. It could be whatever you want. No butt pockets, Sci-Fi. What are you going to do with all your cool laser stuff? And that's pretty much it for the torso part. On the legs, he's got a lot of little doodads and doohickeys going on. Just some random little, like, I don't know what you would call this. Not bullets, just some kind of stitching or something. Very fashionista of him. We got two more pouches right here, and then all these little, like, silver bolts or screw designs, whatever you want to call them. They're symmetrical, 3 on the insides and 2 on the out. Silver, they've got these big silver, also very 80s looking, like RoboCop if I just showed this part. Silver knee pads goes into this black design here. It has a armored Cobra Commander look to it as well. It might be a reuse with some like little vents or dig ins here. So there's a subtle color shift here as well as over here. It's not quite silver, it's not quite black. It's something in between to just help it like stand out, give it some variation. And it ends with some standard black shoes underneath. Very good looking figure. Like, it's really very faithful to the original, and it kind of like, I don't know, it just fires off in all the right spots. It's just 80s enough, and I think you know what I'm getting at when I say that. It's not as outlandish as the original, but it's obviously, we're not talking OG-13 here either. And it's hard to strike that perfect balance. I think this figure does it really well. Let's gear him up and see how he looks. Here he is without the visor on at all. It's a tight, perfect fit. There was no resistance, no struggle, and it frames the face perfectly, which gives me great optimism for how it will look with the visor on it. It like securely goes under his chin just like you would want. Sometimes these accessories don't line up or are not as stable as they need to be. I'm sold on this. This is like the weird Sci-Fi where he's just like, I'm going to have a conversation in the pit and I don't need my visor. I guess they're kind of removable in the same way that Iron Man's helmet kind of comes and goes off of his face in the movies. The visor slots in on these 2 holes on the side. There's pegs that match up and they plug in, and it's a perfect stable fit. It is, I mean, look at that. That's solid, man. You can kind of see in the light his face underneath, which makes me think of that red faceplate Cobra Commander where you could pry the lid off and look at the unmasked Cobra Commander's gruesome visage. I think that's all really good. It adds an extra sense of depth and realism to it, not just a crafted helmet. This is supposed to be like his blast shield when he's firing his laser, doing heavy duty stuff, and he's got to protect his face. This, to my knowledge, did not exist in Sci-Fi's world until the modern figure created it, which we'll look at here in a little bit. Yeah, now we're cooking. The half visor slots in the exact same way. It only covers the top half of his face, and now he really looks. I forget that it's like looking at Batman. You really only know him from the nose down. He really does start to look exactly like the Sci-Fi that I know and love. There's a little bit of a wiggle there, so it's not exactly the perfect fit I might have been building it up for, at least on the half visor, but that's not a complaint in any way. It looks good. And based on how we've seen eyewear in the past with classified figures, I think this is a very, very big win for us. Before I add the blast effects, this is what he looks like all geared up. He's got his like power source backpack on. The hose obviously plugs into the only hole there and connects to the gun here. This is all very cool looking. He's got his big old laser scope for sniping or whatever, because in his file card it says he's often shooting from like a mile away or whatever. The gun, I showed a close-up on the accessories, but it actually says target locked, and then it has a little binary code beneath it, which I think is cool. So add the blast effects and complete this bad boy. Here he is firing it off in all its glory. This is a great blast effect. They could have just started, I mean, like, they could have used any of these bad boys over and over and over again, and they chose not to. Oh, Ninja Turtles in there. But, so I'm glad that they made something kind of original. It's unique looking. It does have this, like, it plugs in obviously here at the base, and then this part plugs into the orb. And the orb I'm a big fan of as well, because it has this like cartoon energy behind it that I think is really cool. Like of the laser, I don't know. I don't understand lasers, so to me I'm like, yes, realistic and cool. But yeah, this is a great figure overall. Let's take a look at other sci-fis from the past and see how he stacks up. Here's our original 1986 Sci-Fi. This is a well played with figure, despite the fact that he looks clean. I might have even replaced him over the years. I like him so much. And just as a general, just looking over him, I'll keep the classified in the background there so we can see him. We see that this green has changed to black, and I think that's to kind of like tone down how much green is going on here. You can see what I'm talking about, how bright this green is compared to that one. It's such a subtle take, but it makes a huge difference in my opinion. This armor piece has been like expanded a little bit to incorporate the shoulder pad part of it, and they've changed his backpack. It's the fundamental design has changed very minimally. It's not 100%. I stand corrected. That looks almost exactly dead on. The only real change is that it's not green anymore, which is all I was going to point out. I stand down on that. The silver bracers, again, I think are to kind of tone down on how much green is showing. But we've got the black gloves. The laser rifle is also extremely faithful. It's just like a bigger, badder version of it on the classified scale. And that's about it, honestly. I mean, all the changes they've made make perfect sense to me. I get why they did it, and it does not offend. Let's look at the modern figure and see how the evolution has changed over the years. This is the last Sci-Fi figure we got in 2011, and back then they had already started having to call him Seymour Sci-Fi Fine. This was a trademark copyright issue where they could not just copyright the word sci-fi any longer. It was being used by something else. This is the first time, I don't have it on hand, but this Sci-Fi has a removable helmet, and you could replace it with the full faceplate, which is the first time I had ever seen it. You can also see that a lot of the changes that I noted before are started here. We've got the chest plate has changed from the green to more of a silver, and they've like called out the shoulder pads a little more. We've seen the bracers evolution here. They're not silver yet, and they're obviously a little bigger on the classified scale. I do really like these little like wires or whatever they are that come off towards the end here. I would have been okay if that had hung on, but I can see why they wouldn't. It's probably a huge pain to do. I'm surprised they did it in this line. Although the 30th anniversary modern line is well regarded as some of the best figures for the modern line. The silver like boots, or I guess that's what they would be called, I've also pretty much stayed exactly the same. And all the other designs are there. His backpack looks, they also changed the color here as well, but Sci-Fi's not really changed significantly over the years, as you can see. There aren't a lot of other Sci-Fis to look at. I think there's only 5 total from the vintage and modern combined, and that's including, Star Brigade and the unusual gray one, which I'm sure we're not going to see anytime soon. So, like I said, great week to be a G.I. Joe fan. I feel way stronger about this figure than a lot of figures I've seen recently, but it's definitely a heavy hitter for me. The only possible reason I can think of where you couldn't justify adding this to your collection is if you're just one of those guys that is a true like OG-13. I only want things to be extremely realistic from a military perspective. Flash is my laser trooper, etc., etc. But this is, Sci-Fi's from a key year in G.I. Joe when it's just about at its largest it's ever going to be. So I suspect more people are on my side than yours. If you're looking for the okay, I'm giving it. I think Sci-Fi's a must-have to your collection. And I'm extremely pleased with it. It's going to be hard to live up. He's going to make my top 10 list. I just about guarantee it. That's going to do it for us today. Thanks so much for watching this unboxing. We look forward to talking to you on our next one, where anything's available for discussion here on Anything Goes.